Salutations, everybody. It is Maddie here today, and we have some most delectable news to get into today. Indeed, we have a massive update on the Fallout TV show. Not only are we getting Season 2 this year... What? Season 2 this year. Season 3 got greenlit, and we have an idea of just how many seasons to expect overall from the Fallout TV show, and there's a lot more Fallout on the way. So I'm naturally in a great mood. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to sit down, break it all down here, because we also got a teaser trailer for Season 2. And where might we see more? We will discuss that. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here. All of my fellow Fallout freaks. If you're new here, you're into Fallout, consider subscribing. All right, let's begin with just how this all mounted up so quickly. So on May 8th, we learned that Season 2 had wrapped production. We saw all of the main actors and actresses of the show making their Instagram posts and their tweets and all that stuff saying, like, Season 2's done, but then the Fallout on Prime.
I'm, like, fidgeting with my finger. My finger, like, feels broken, so I'm trying to pop it back into place. Like a fuck. I'm gonna give it like 2 more weeks. So my dad told me, he was like, yeah, just give it a week or 2, and then after that, if it's still bad, we'll go to the doctor. Like, bro, I'm pretty sure it's fucking too late by that point, bro. Pretty sure by the time we go to the doctor, it's gonna be too late. It's gonna be 4 weeks in. It's gonna be over with.
Twitter account officially confirmed that Season 2 had wrapped production. So when I saw that, I went, all right, we'll see you in like 2026 probably. No, it's actually happening this year in December. Now, this may be a little bit of a sneak attack for people, myself included, but this is what they've been saying since an interview in June by Variety with 2 of the show's writers. They joked about having hundreds of seasons, they write here, but what is your ideal number? And they talk about here, given the success of the show, 5 is suddenly feeling a little more appealing, but the industry is a temperamental thing, and we kind of have to go to each season thinking it's our last. But the way they accelerated things was also a bit telegraphed to us. They said, you're moving production from New York to California for the 2nd season. How will that impact things? They say, I think the audience is going to find a lack of strain on the personal lives palpable. I feel like it's going to be relatively smooth sailing because we have such great desert right here in California. We're going to be scouting locations we can literally drive to from the writing room, and also less gray skies because they were filming in New York, so they had to film in the summer and part of the winter, and some of those exteriors, the dark gray skies, were just not as beautiful, and so some of the filmmaking then came to Southern California in turn for Fallout Season 2.
That's gonna be perfect.
So I think given the setting of Season 2, of course, being focusing around New Vegas, it being set in California, this show was able to be shot way quicker, and things just worked out really well, where they also talked a lot about how, like, the story was pedal to the metal. They say here, like, when are we going to see the next season? They talked about late 25, 26, and Wagner said, we are going as fast as we possibly can. We've got a lot of the heavy lifting done from Season 1 already. We have sets, assets, visual effects that are already done. We are going to be pedal to the metal to get Season 2 out as fast as humanly possible.
That whole rhyme, bro. We have sets, assets, visual effects.
And I imagine this is to Amazon's best interest because a lot of their popular shows are renewing right now, if you will, right? Like, we're waiting on the final season of The Boys. But there's a lot of shows that are kind of pending, so no doubt Amazon wants Fallout Season 2 ASAP, especially because they gave the whole season out at once. I don't know yet, but I anticipate that this show in Season 2 will at least drop in waves of some kind. If they're like 3-episode batches maybe, or maybe even just week to week. You know, if you look at what The Boys did, they dropped a couple episodes at first and then they did week to week. And I could see Fallout doing a similar thing because I don't think anybody knew, even the biggest of fans of Fallout like myself, knew how big the show would become, as we'll go over a couple of stats later. But this was then reinforced by Aaron Moten in a recent interview. He's the actor behind Maximus, for those who don't remember, but he was asked, like, how many seasons do we have? And he talked about the showrunners still planning for 5 or 6. We're still in that ballpark, but they want to take it season by season. The other thing he confirmed in this, and I think as to be expected, is the Deathclaw is coming in Season 2. Which, again, given the setting, the Deathclaw skull at the very tail
they have to, bro.
of the
They
credits
don't,
of Season 1, I think we all expected that he would make his appearance. But I think one of the greatest miracles about Season 1 was how little they did lean into parts of the Fallout mythos that have yet to come that I think are going to elevate season 2. So very exciting, but a little bit of background information on how we got here so quickly, because I'll be the first to admit I know jack diddly do about TV production and movie production and how quickly things can move. But after we got such a phenomenal season 1, I was like, look, I'm almost a little scared knowing it's arriving so quickly. I'm like, we're a little bit of like year and a half and you've already filmed, edited. Like, is the story going to be as good? So I'm excited. At the same time, I have to say, because it's moved so fast, I'm just a little bit skeptical, which I think is a healthy area to be in right now. So the other interesting news with season 2 is that they renewed it, as reported here by Variety, for season 3 ahead of season 2 even premiering in December. They write here, Prime Video has renewed the hit video game series for season 3 ahead of the season 2 premiere this December. Season 2 will pick up in the aftermath of season 1's epic finale and take audiences along for a journey through the wasteland of the Mojave to the post-apocalyptic city of New Vegas. To date, more than 100 million viewers have watched season 1, putting it in the top 3 Prime Video titles ever. So there were the stats I was referencing earlier, but they're expecting this thing to do big numbers again. Can season 2 surpass season 1? That'll be interesting to see, because I think a lot of things just worked in its favor. Like, I think it helps out a lot having all those episodes out at once. It really depends, I think, on how Amazon wants to pace the release of things. But yeah, December, this is really exciting. At the same time, like, December is usually when I personally take a little bit of time off. So if they're doing week-to-week releases in December, are we going to get like a little Christmas season sort of Fallout going on? I mean, that would be awesome. But what a great holiday treat, no doubt. At the same time, though, like, that's usually when I take time off, so I might have to I will absolutely reorganize my content plans completely for this show, because I am just so excited to see more. And again, knowing that season 3 is on the horizon and they've already wrapped season 2, they have to release it, and I imagine they're already working on the writing of season 3. This seems like we could get season 3 by mid 2027 based on the timeline that we just saw between season 1 and 2. And that's crazy to think about, but I guess just as gamers, we're accustomed to waiting like a millennium for literally everything we're excited about.
It should not be like that. I'm glad it's like this now.
We also got a brand new teaser trailer for Fallout Season 2. And it's a snippet, but it's just the word of the video. It's delectable. It's absolutely delicious. We see it open up with a little bit of a Las Vegas sign. 50 miles away, you see Lucy and the Ghoul are traveling together. As we learned by the end of season 1, they were going to be on the journey together. So they're traveling along, and then you see New Vegas, and you even see like a little canyon kind of rippling through, which I thought was a little bit interesting there, but looks ripped straight out of the game, which is a lot of what I think Fallout as the TV show in season 1 did really, really well. Was there's so many different assets, even down to the jumpsuits that Vault Dwellers would wear, the stim packs, all the props, and even here the shots from the game. Like I'm in the middle of a replay of New Vegas that I paused because I had to review a few things, but I like am looking at this shot where they're just approaching New Vegas, thinking to myself, like, I've literally seen that a million times before. So again, really capturing the essence of the game. Just seeing this, I'm tremendously excited. Obviously, all of my real concerns, if I have any, as I've talked about, really boil down to like the story, you know, where it's going to go. Of course, there were a couple of like lore hiccups that we had to discuss and sort of iron out and give them time to see how they answer those questions in season 2, because I think if they provide the right answers, there are no lore issues whatsoever when it comes to Fallout Season 1. But given that they're afraid to give a canon ending to New Vegas, that's where I'm like, how are you going to dance around this when they're literally walking directly to New Vegas, and Mr. House is a main character in the pre-war segments, and like, how do we come about that? So that's really exciting unto itself. The other question is, where's season 3 going to take place? Because like now we're visiting popular Fallout locale. Like Fallout Season 1 reminded me of like the original Fallouts, which I really deeply respected Bethesda and Amazon for doing, because I think it was really easy to lean into East Coast Fallout. Then you travel to New Vegas. You really give the fans what they want. So does East Coast Fallout come in Season 3? And I say that because, look, let's combine these worlds for a moment here. We know there's a leak for Fallout 3 Remaster, and we know it's coming about 2 or 3 years after the release of Oblivion Remastered. That's thanks to the FTC document. That's thanks to Nate the Hate. So we have a general idea of where it's arriving, and let's say it's in that 2-year pocket. You can get the Fallout 3 remaster, and Season 3 is going to the East Coast, and that's arriving in like a year and a half, 2-ish years. I mean, the stars really align here. I think we'll see more, though, and get a better idea of like what Season 2 is really going to feature on Fallout Day. So last October, October 23rd, the Great War Day in the Fallout universe, Bethesda finally celebrated. And a lot of it was based around Fallout 76, but this was like a huge win for the Fallout community in just that Bethesda was acknowledging it. Like the existence of the event meant really good things for the Fallout franchise, because as someone who's been a part of that speculation train for the Fallout franchise for over a decade, a lot of us always look to like October 23rd for Bethesda to do something. Like they put out a tweet or whatever, but like a stream, like the franchise is big enough and now it's got so many irons in the fire. Like it's at a place now where you could hold an annual stream and be like, here's what we're doing that's new with the Fallout franchise. I feel like this year, just given now we know the new season is coming out in December, that famous last words, you can kind of lock in the idea that you'll see something with Season 2 during the Fallout Day stream. I think this would bring a lot of eyes to that stream, and especially if you're like synchronizing 76 updates or other additional Fallout content around that time, that'd be really cool. This is me being a complete dork, so bear with me, but one thing I'm really hoping, of course we want the obvious things at these Fallout Day streams, like, oh, you know, Fallout 3 Remaster, be sick to see, or like something involving games, but I have been begging Bethesda to do like Fallout books, Fallout comics. I don't know why this is untapped. I respect being careful with things, but like I think Fallout books would be, I'd be all over it. Like Star Wars has a million books and I love reading those. Halo has a ton of books and I remember reading those as a kid. I do feel like Fallout, now that it's just so unbelievably mainstream, it's at a point where like I feel you got to start just like the general demand of like Microsoft and owning Fallout. Like that's just cash money right there. So I feel like we're going to see beyond the toys and the merch, maybe more expanded material. That would make me personally really happy. I would be totally all in on Fallout books, because again, they you know, I look at Star Wars as an example of how they can like set up important parts of the universe, right? Now, in the case of Star Wars, the most recent example we have was horribly executed. You had the High Republic that was introduced through the books like Light of the Jedi, which I thought was a great book. And then it went into the Dark, which I thought was okay. But overall, these books set up a new universe in Star Wars. The High Republic was this like golden era of Star Wars. And I think it was a really interesting idea because it was a little bit of a hybrid of like modern Star Wars alongside like Old Republic vibes without tampering with what makes Old Republic great. And so I think it was like a great idea. Then the big screen portion of it came into play. That was with the Acolyte. Obviously, that didn't do all too well. So the plan was a good idea. And Star Wars has done that before. So I just feel like Fallout could do some interesting things, introduce some interesting ideas, especially with how long it takes to get like mainline games or even spin-offs. Like it would be cool just to see like what's happening in the Fallout universe overseas, or like what's happening in the Fallout universe in like New York, or just answer some questions. And then, you know, when you're making the games, you can lean into the books a little bit in a healthy way. You know, you don't have to like completely fall in line with the book, but I mean, just a little bit of like, oh, this character's over here, you know, that sort of stuff. So I feel like we're getting to that point where the expanded material can happen. But this, what I'm trying to say is this year's Fallout Day stream is absolutely one to watch, because I think that it has a lot of potential for a lot of things that we've been looking for to show up. Do we see the Fallout 3 remaster here? I don't think so. I don't think you see that until Bethesda starts setting up East Coast Fallout, which I think they could totally do with Fallout Season 3. I don't know how we get there, but I also didn't expect them to get to New Vegas in Season 1 and just show that in the final shot. So with all of that in mind, there's just a lot to be excited about here. You know, my overall concern, as I was talking about earlier, does boil down a bit to that story, just because, again, I think the character work was really good. Like, I think that the trio of main characters you have in Maximus and Lucy and the Ghoul all kind of stand as some of the best characters we've ever seen in Fallout, especially the Ghoul. Like, giving the Vault Boy lore, and especially in the front part of the teaser trailer, was Walton Goggins as Cooper Howard doing promotions for everything from Nuka-Cola to the Lucky 38. And just, you can see, again, they're just capturing the essence of the franchise so beautifully. But it always goes back to square one that I talked about. It is always going back to Bethesda doesn't want to pick a canon ending for New Vegas. Until I see season 2, I'll know how I truly feel. But my early feelings on that, as someone who has not seen season 2 and I'm just shooting from the outside, is like, I would personally suggest you pick a canon ending. Because you're going to have to do it eventually. But the only way I think Bethesda wants to do that is through a mainline game. And that is through likely Fallout 5. And I say that because Fallout 4 has teased so much San Francisco content. They told Obsidian to not wipe San Francisco off the map because they wanted to put a Fallout game there when Obsidian was working on New Vegas. So I feel like since it's in close proximity to everything the Fallout TV show is doing, that maybe you get some answers to New Vegas in the next canonical entry of the Fallout video game series. But that's like half a decade away, 6 years away, 7 years away. I don't know. It's a long ways away. So I just feel like some answers on New Vegas wouldn't hurt the fan base. I think it would be really cool to see. So that dance is like, sincerely, this is me just being stupid. Maybe I just don't know how you do it. I don't know how you go to New Vegas and show New Vegas, but not describe how New Vegas got to this point. Just it's destroyed now. Maybe that's it. Like they just know it as New Vegas and they don't know the hows or whys of it. But I'm like, as a fan, I'm like, is that really fulfilling? So they have the chance to really just blow me away here because I feel like I'm not seeing something with all of this. But maybe you have some ideas. Nonetheless, that's what's going on with the Fallout franchise right now. A lot to be excited about. We got a season 3 on the way. Season 2 this December, way sooner than I personally was expecting. Naturally, we'll be reacting to it and talking about it extensively week to week or the whole season at once come December. But until then, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed this video, and let me know your thoughts on Fallout Season 2 and 3, as well as the amount of seasons we're getting and the teaser trailer. Just so much to talk about here. Let me know your thoughts down below. Other than that, take excellent care of yourselves, and I will see you in the next video.
Stay sexy.
active.
Yep, knew it.
Well,
I knew it.